What's up, everybody? Trey Biddy with HawgSports.com coming to you from the Botanical Gardens here in Fayetteville, Arkansas. Only $13 to come in here, enjoy a nice little stroll, talk to all of you folks about the Razorbacks. So, after the chaos of Saturday, after Arkansas's 19-14 win, you know, a lot of people, the overwhelming response from people, by the way, from the walk and talk, just incredible. But a lot of people also, at the same time, you know, wanted a more traditional type of walk and talk where talk about the game and all that kind of stuff. So with a bye week, figure instead of doing the Monday show like we normally do a walk and talk. And what a great time for a bye week, by the way. It doesn't line up perfectly like this very often, so when it does, you really got to appreciate it. Coming off of a, what's in here, 19-14 win over number 4 Tennessee, an incredible home environment, and to be able to sit in it for about 12 days until the LSU game, ESPN, 6 o'clock. Pretty cool. So, got to appreciate that. And that's, you know, what happened Saturday is one reason I say stuff like the ideal scenario for this football program is for things to work out this year with this coaching staff and get into year 2 of a Bobby Petrino offense and retain Travis Williams, whose star is rising, as we can all see, and Sam Pittman as well, who's, you know, just always been a great fit, considered a great fit nationally for this program. But it doesn't get there, obviously, with a losing record. No coach in the country is going to survive back-to-back losing seasons, so they had to get it done this year for all that to happen. But the best scenario, I think, is for it to happen. I was telling the guys over at Arkansas Edge, like, I did an appearance deal over at their tent in Hogdown. It's like, you know, this is great and having people come over, but what you guys need is a moment. There it was. There was the moment. And couldn't come at a better time because we all needed it, didn't we? You know, this team has lost a couple of close games, and you know, I wasn't as disappointed in the program after the Texas A&M game. There's chickens over here. That's a Kentucky Red. We used to have those. Vegetable garden over here. They've given over 1,500 pounds to people in need this year. Pretty cool. So, but the Oklahoma State one is the one that really disappointed me the most. But man, to beat Tennessee like that, and you know, everything wasn't perfect. Like, you can argue that maybe they should have gone for 2 when they scored that touchdown, but there's still a lot of clock left. You know, so they get 2, and you know, they're only down by 3. But if they don't, you know, then they score a touchdown next time, they're only up by 2. So there's a lot of game left. So that's argumentative. You know, there's the question of whether or not maybe they should have just taken the clock all the way down. They probably could have gotten them down to about 30 seconds, but they kick a field goal, and as good as Arkansas's defense is playing, that Tennessee offense still is very explosive and capable of getting down the field. They get down there, kick a field goal, and you know, they beat you by a point. You know, so getting the touchdown was also probably more important than any of the time issues. You know, if you consider it that way. So whatever your arguments are, the school of thought that they used was the correct one because it came out on top. You know, the walk and talk, guys, I just want to say this, like, I'm never doing that fishing for compliments, but man, some of the stuff that people said, just really cool. It was like, one guy said, you know, on Josh Pate's deal, like, you know, I don't have the national platform that he does, or you know, any of that stuff, but that's our guy. Man, if I could be remembered as something like that, that's pretty special. You know, just being featured on Josh Pate's college football show, incredible. Just another guy this was probably the best compliment I think I've ever received. It's when the guy said that I'd played as big a part as anybody in helping keep this fan base together, and that's amazing. That's amazing for somebody to say that. But I've always felt, guys, like no matter what side of the spectrum you're on, whether you're always seeing the silver lining or you want everybody fired, you're still all Razorback fans. And if you zoom out, it's not that far. You're not that far apart. You're really not. And it takes everybody. It takes everybody in this state to make a program like Arkansas what it is capable of being. And we saw that on Saturday night. We saw it. We lived it. And all I did, again, was pull that camera out and let it speak for itself. So it was a pretty special night. And anyway, thanks for everybody for making it special also. And hey, the opposing fans too. I mean, like, I love seeing other fans who get it, who understand what I'm trying to do with the walk and talk. one guy said, I wish we had a Trey Biddy. That's incredible to hear that. I really appreciate that. I feel like a lot of fan bases out there get it. Missouri, for some reason, and their dislike for me is justified, sure. But most fan bases seem to get what I'm doing. And, you can call me a homer all you want, whatever. I've been called worse than that. But I do have a degree in journalism. I had a lot of great teachers. I had a lot of teachers try to put me in a box and tell me what I should be and what I need to be. And that I should forget that I stormed the field in '99 against Tennessee. I was a student at the University of Arkansas, that I grew up in this state. And I don't wear Arkansas across my chest like maybe I used to, but it's always going to be in my pocket. So you can call me a homer if you want, but you can't call me a fraud. I'm just going to be who I'm going to be. And I still think I can call it like I see it. Congratulations, Sam Pittman. I mean, guys, like, when I think about the bye week that's come up too, and I know Sam's dealing with this hip issue. I know it's bothering him too. And he's been through a lot, not just from, fans, but, taking hard questions from the media, especially last year. I know I threw some tough ones at him. He probably got a little frustrated with me, but I mean, I've made it clear before that how much I like Sam and how much I want things to work out for him. I just have a job to do. And I've got to ask the questions that need to be asked. So I was really happy to see things work out for him, and how much I know that he wants things to work out just for the state, and he's not in it for himself as much. I mean, I'm sure he is a little bit, but you know what I mean. So I wanted to make sure I mentioned Sam Pittman's name, mentioned Braylon Russell's name. Like, there's so many. I didn't even say Andrew Armstrong, who had a great game, Isaiah Satania. How weird is it that Malachi Singleton's mom was right behind me on the walk and talk when I start talking about Malachi Singleton? I mean, somebody said it's actually that kind of stuff should happen. Like when you run into somebody out of the blue that in another city, in another state, that stuff should happen. It would be weirder if it didn't, because there's a ton of people that I talked about also that, their parents weren't standing behind me, so statistically it should have happened. But that was pretty wild that she was right there behind me when I was talking about Malachi, and I didn't know he had it in him, but did great performing down there. Braylon Russell, I always remember from my senior year of high school, the first really big bruising back that we ever played was 1995, and we played Pulaski Academy, and there was this guy named Morgan Keys. Morgan, if you're watching, he's a former Razorback. He was probably, 5'11", 6 foot, 230, 240 pounds, and I was playing in. I was about 212, and I just remember them running power. They're coming right at me, and I just remember just the feeling of getting hit by that dude. And ever since then, I've known that I'd way rather play against a shifty back than a dude that's just going to pound you like that. Because, yeah, you may get your ankles broken, you may have to chase the guy, but just getting pounded out like that, and Braylon Russell being 253 pounds, coming in the fourth quarter after you've been running Jaquindon at 235 at him all day for 20 carries, and then bringing in Braylon after they're softened up a little bit, man, that's a dude's a load to bring down. And as we thought, his role is just continuing to increase. Got a lot of talent, a lot of ability. So good to see Braylon get some action in there. It was good to see young guys. Like, you had Malachi Singleton, who's a redshirt freshman, Braylon Russell, who's a freshman, in there leading Arkansas down the field against number 4 Tennessee. Great job by the offensive line. That defensive line, as I said in the walk and talk the other day, is no joke. They are the real deal. And for Arkansas to have any success moving the ball on the ground against those guys, incredible. It's an incredible job, an incredible change. And as we know about this Petrino offense, it just takes some time. I ran into Eric Mateos as I was leaving the stadium. Big grin on his face. Just, you can imagine how he feels after, all the work that they put into assembling the offensive line and all that stuff. And back to the bye week, man. I mean, like, guys, I've been with this team. I hadn't even done anything, and I needed a bye week. I ain't even done anything. I mean, all I've done is, told the story, which is what I consider myself out of everything that a journalist can be, from a reporter to breaking news to doing analytical type stuff. What I always consider myself is a storyteller, whether it's doing this kind of stuff or the written word. That's where my niche is. And that's what I've followed this team from I wasn't even part of the 8-week training cycle, which is brutal in the summer. But from SEC media days to 25 practices over the span of 29 days in fall camp leading up to the first game, there's 6 straight weeks of football. It's a lot. It's a lot to take on. And these guys are doing it every day. It's just such a grind. And luckily, they're in their teens and 20s, so they can handle that kind of stuff better. But coaches too, it's a lot. And to finally get the bye week and you're coming off of a win like that, you can't script it much better. That will benefit them more than people think long term, and this fan base. I mean, guys, like the UAPB game was one of my favorite weeks in recent memory because everybody was positive. Oh, Bobby Petrino's, it was a good time. It was a good time, a good week. And we get 2 of it, and this football team's not perfect. They're not about to go undefeated. Okay, so don't think just because they beat Tennessee that everything's going to go right now. But what it does tell you is, hey, Texas A&M a little bit better than maybe what people thought. Look what they did to Missouri. I mean, I watched every play. I watched every single down. Texas A&M got a good football team. Oklahoma State, again, is the one that is most disappointing to me. And it's really nice out here. And there's so much more. There's like 40 acres out here, by the way. But they should have beaten Oklahoma State. And, they always say Arkansas loses when they shouldn't and wins when they shouldn't. And maybe that's what happened. But I give them a chance against LSU on Saturday, 2 weeks. And, heck, what's after that? They've got Ole Miss. They've got Texas. They've got Mississippi State. They've got Louisiana Tech. They've got Missouri and Columbia. I mean, they're on path. They're on schedule to get to a bowl game, which, that shouldn't be the goal. That shouldn't be the ultimate goal for this program. I think Sam just kind of screwed things up last year, to be honest, guys, and he messed up. I still think he's learning as a coach in a lot of ways. I think that's lessening now. I think there was a lot of learning, and I think there's just, just like everybody, like I learn something new every day. I think Sam does that too. Anyway, just wanted to make sure I came out and did, maybe a more verbalizing walk and talk, but that was incredible Saturday night. And again, all I did was, I didn't know that people were going to storm the field. I don't usually go down to the field anymore. Like ever since they installed that elevator that takes you down to the press area, I just wait till the game is over and I get on the elevator. And I've done that for years now. Whereas I used to always go down to the field about 5 minutes left. But for some reason, I was up there, and I was like, after that punt by Devin Bale that went, down to, I think, to the 20-yard line for Tennessee, at that point I go down there. So I didn't see anything until I got down there, and then suddenly Arkansas is in scoring territory. They're in scoring range, and I'm asking people, like, how'd they get down there? And like, people down on the field, they don't know. They're just in the excitement. They're just like, there's a run, and there's a pass, and there's a run. It's like, so, but what happened? Nobody could tell me. Even when I was doing the walk and talk, I generally did not know. I got in there, thought I was going straight down, then we're just stopping at every floor, and people were like, I need to go to mezzanine, I need to go, and then we're sitting in there, she's like, oh, I forgot to hit the button. I'm like, come on, we got to go. I can hear them. I can hear the crowd. We got to go. And I get down there, and then, after Arkansas scores, I go down, I walk down to the other end of the field, and this dude, he's standing there, and he's wanting to talk to me. And we're talking, and I'm shaking his hand, and I mean, this guy has me. He's not letting me go. And I can't even hear what he's saying, but he's not letting me go. He's like talking about being on the walk. I think he may come on there later, but he's not letting me go, and I'm trying to get to the other end. And as I'm walking down there, I'm like thinking, am I about to see them score? Because I remember so many times against Texas A&M, I would be down there in that end zone and watch Texas A&M score and stand in the same spot. And I was just thinking, that's not what I'm going down there for this time. I just kind of had a feeling. And tremendous job by the Razorback defense. I mean, just keeping it in front of you. Watching that clock, man, 13 seconds, 6 seconds. What I asked Sam Pittman after the post game, what was your emotions like, when the clock at each stage, 13, 6, 0. Thought he got a great answer to that. It's a good place for a walk and talk. Just a circle. I can just walk. May come out here and do radio. Maybe I can get a pass, like a season pass. So I don't have to pay 13 bucks every time. But you guys can come check this out. They got some neat stuff. Again, it's 40 acres out here. Super nice staff in there. All right. That's it, I guess. Keep making environments like that, people. I mean, like, I mentioned this a little bit, but like we talked about all this, how difficult it is to go to a Razorback game. You got your family, you know, the tailgating, buying food, you know, getting dressed up, getting your kids dressed up, you know, making sure you got the look going, the money that it costs. If you're coming from out of town, all the hassle, the travel time, staying in a hotel if you have to do that, all of those things that go into going to a Razorback game, and just the disappointment that you feel time and time again from losing at home. But it hasn't been like, guys, it has not been like the Chad Morris era where it was just over at first quarter. You're just like, why did I even come? You know, they're actually competing in football games, playing 4-quarter games. They've just been losing them at the end, which, you know, I don't mean to say like that's, they just lost, that's all. That's not what I mean at all. But we've actually watched football games. But man, when something happens like it happened Saturday night, and I got to tell you guys, when I was walking out of there and I'm walking to the elevator and I saw a couple of people, I was like, what are you doing? Why are you leaving? People were leaving in a 1-score game. Leaving. Why? Why would you do that? Why would you go to a movie and then you've got 5 minutes till it's over and you're like, well, we got to beat traffic. Let's go. We got to beat traffic. We came to watch this movie, but I don't care how it ends. I just want to beat the traffic. After everything that you put in to go to the game, you're going to leave so you can beat traffic by a little bit? I don't understand it. But whatever. Everybody's got their priorities, I guess. But back to what I'm saying, like it's just, you cannot put a price on being at an event like that. You know, there's certain concerts I've been to in my life and other events and Razorback football games. Like, and I can think of the things that, you know, have cost a lot of money to go to, but things that I would never replace. And I always thought, I love Josh Pate, by the way, and thanks for saying you love me too, Josh. It's a love fest from the bald-headed dudes covering sports. But I always love what he says about paying for experiences. Like, having stuff is fine, and you know, thanks to my wife, we do a good job of not hoarding and keeping stuff that's not important stuff. But having good stuff is great, but experiences, that's hard to beat. It really is. All right, that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this version of the walk and talk. We'll just call it the bi-week bonus walk and talk, Tennessee, Arkansas style. I don't know, we'll call it something like that. All right, everybody, appreciate you joining me as I ranted. I don't even know if I talked that much about the game. I just kind of rambled. We never know where these things are going to go. All right, this has been Trey Biddy with HawgSports.com. We'll catch you next time.